Hey, I'm Nick Williams, and in this video, I'm going to discuss with you the very best sales script, the very best presentation that you can make to a client. So I break this down. There's two types of presentations you can do. One is a rehearsed, memorized script. The other is what I call a question-based script. It's an open-ended question-based script. So either way, you need to evolve and develop this into your own script, but I have my preference, and I'll explain why in this video, and I'll explain why it makes a lot of sense to utilize the presentation that I'm going to suggest you end up using. So first of all, if I were to sell final expense only, a fully rehearsed script is feasible. I know where I'm going to land. I'm going to land on a dollar amount that I think they can afford to pay. I might give them either or, a couple dollar amounts, and let them choose the fatal alternative. Either way is a sale for me. I might give them three and have them end up at the one in the middle. That is a final expense presentation I like to use. I give them three choices. I want them to buy the one in the middle, and that's the one they end up buying normally. So, but if I'm selling just one product, I can tell where I'm going to end, and a rehearsed script may make sense there, and does make sense there. But I want to be a multi-dimensional. I want to utilize what I call the 4-product sales progression. So I want to be able to sell Medicare, which is Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage, final expense, the indemnity product, and then the annuity. So I need a presentation that is flexible, versatile, that I could sell any of those products. Now, how does this work? Well, if I'm going through a presentation and I realize that I cannot sell Medicare at all, they have their brother-in-law is their Medicare agent, and he's been their Medicare agent for 5 years. Well, now maybe I can immediately flip to final expense, or maybe even do, if I find out they have a Medicare Advantage plan, do the hospital indemnity. So that would give me an option there, but I need to be flexible in my presentation. So I want to use an if this, then that type sales approach. So for example, if I were to run into a situation where somebody had a Medicare Advantage plan, and for whatever reason, formulary reasons or whatever reasons, that was the plan that they were going to keep. I did not want to change them from that plan. What I could do at that time, if I was flexible, if I was versatile in my presentation, then I could simply say, well, you have that Humana Medicare Advantage plan. That's a $350 daily copay for a hospital stay. That's a lot of money, but for 5 days, you're approaching $2,000 for one hospital stay of 5 days or more. So that's a problem. Would you agree? Yes, of course they're going to agree. I have a solution for that. And from that point, I now can go to my mini presentation for the hospital indemnity. Likewise, if somebody had perhaps a Medicare supplement, if they had a Plan F, and for whatever reason I knew they were going to stay with that Plan F, their brother-in-law sold it to them, an example I used previously, then I could say, well, you're good there, and I want you to know that I'm here to make sure that you're getting the best deal for any of the insurances that you're spending money on that. Having said that, what other insurance companies are taking money out of your checking account each month? Then I can spin off and go into final expense. If they tell me, and oftentimes what they'll say is, well, just my life insurance. And I'm like, well, who's that with? I've done this with you guys. I've done this walkthrough with you guys on these videos many times. It's a very simple transition. But I can't get there if I do a hardcore presentation up front. Like now, if I was working for United Healthcare, I could probably start off with a presentation for AARP and all the benefits and do all this stuff. But then, if they already have AARP, that's not going to serve me well, is it? So I need to be flexible. And here's the thing, it requires dedication to study and learn all these products. And I tell you what, I think it's a cop-out. I think that it lacks the desire to be a professional, to not be able to say, well, that's too much for me to learn at once. No, it's not. This is your profession. You should be able to learn. These products are simple. A hospital indemnity product pays the daily copay on a hospital room for 3, 5, 7 days, 10 days, whatever it says in the rate book. And that's it. It's the easiest thing in the world to know. Medicare supplements are, I've said it before, baby food easy. These things are simple. Final expense is one of the easiest products there is to sell, to present. I won't say sell because, you've got to close. You got to be a good closer. So these things you should know. Now, let me move on. It also isn't so important what you say, but also how you say it. So I have an agent, and he will go into a home, and he does the same thing in a little bit different manner on the phone, because when the virus came on, he sold over the phone. He was successful over the phone as well. But he sits down and he says, I'm here to make sure you have the best insurance available to you. And I know a lot of people have the wrong plan. Having said that, go get your Medicare card, your insurance card, your drug card, and let me see what you got. And he goes right into it and he closes them just like that. But he tells them what to do and they listen. He just cuts to the chase. And that's his style. He and I talk about this because he's gone out with me on presentations, and I'm sitting there cutting it up with people, laughing and having a good time, and we agree. It's like we each have our shtick, if you will, and that's a good thing. But that's a must for you. You need to discover your own presentation. Let me move on here. So there is no best presentation, but instead there's the presentation that evolves and you become the best at that suits you best in your own words. So you can grab a presentation, one of these off-the-shelf presentations, and there's a bunch of them, and I'm going to go into the presentation that I recommend for the off-the-shelf presentation and develop it into your own. But you've got to have a lot of activity to do so. Like, for example, on a phone sales call, and what I'm going to get at here is that there are best practices to have. So, for example, on a phone sales call, you may want to very early in the conversation, set it up and by saying, well, to the client, or the prospect on the phone, have you ever bought or have you ever discussed your Medicare with somebody over the phone before? And they would say, if they say no, say, let me tell you how this works. And then you go ahead and explain the process, that you do everything over the phone and close it over the phone, and everything is done at very conveniently for them. And they don't have to worry about some agent coming to their home and giving them the COVID-19 virus. You could throw that in there, but and that may not be the worst thing to do now, but at the recording of this video, but that is, so there are best practices, but again, it has to be your words. I could not give you that script and you say it the way I would say it. And this goes without saying, but it does require a lot of repetition, which means you need leads. You need a lot of leads. That's what makes this work. Now, the questions that I promote that you start with are right here. I've gone over this presentation with you guys over the phone many times. You start off with, how's your health? Are you healthy? You can sit down and talk to somebody about their health. You can do this on the phone as well. Are you healthy? Before you talk about anything, are you healthy? Well, yeah, sure, I'm healthy. They'll start talking because seniors don't mind talking about their health. And then you go into, well, do you take, if they mention a medical problem that they may have, then you can go into, do you take medication for that? How much do you pay for the medication? Do you get extra help for your medications? Are you aware of what extra help is? So if they don't get it, then you can talk about it. When's the last time you've seen a doctor for that? And how much did that cost you? And well, let me ask you this. If you see a specialist, how much does that cost you? Have you ever been hospitalized for that? Oh, really? How much did that cost you? Who's your agent? How long have you been with your agent? Do you like your agent? Are you happy with this program? I don't like that question, actually. Are you happy with the program? Because I don't like yes or no questions. All right. So these are the questions. They're right here on your screen. And every one of them can lead you into another presentation. So how's your health? If they say they have cancer, well, now we've eliminated a lot of options, haven't we? They could still be sold an annuity. They could still be sold a Medicare Advantage plan. So you still have some options, but you've ruled out final expense and you've ruled out hospital indemnity. Do you take medication for that? So now we're talking, so we're creating opportunities. If they like, okay, and when we go down the list here where it talks about, do you like your agent? If they love their agent, well, that has addressed a lot as well. So from this, I can jump off and get I can land on a lot of different little presentations. It might be that I go back to that hospital indemnity presentation. It might be that when I talk about extra help, that when I discuss it, it does go into assets, and it is in your Medicare and You book. I believe that's page, I could be wrong, but I believe it's page 86. It goes and it discusses extra help, maybe 83. It does change each year a little bit. So, but it talks about assets. You might have a conversation about annuities. And let me tell you something, you'll close those. So again, you need to be a professional. You need to understand what an annuity is, and you need to be able to have that conversation. But you can't do it if you go in there with some fixed rigid presentation about Medicare, or fixed rigid presentation about final expense, or fixed rigid presentation about AARP and United Healthcare. You've got to be flexible. So this series of questions will enable you to be flexible. Then you jump off and you land on a mini presentation. For example, if it's annuities, you can say, well, as I understand it, the banks do not pay a fair rate of return. And so if you don't like that, you can now go speak to a broker at the bank. They'll walk you into another room. They'll say, go see that guy. Well, you know what that guy does? He puts you in the stock market. Now you're in a roller coaster. So wouldn't it be nice if there was something in the middle, kind of, sort of in the middle? And that's perhaps where you can discuss the fixed indexed annuity. And that does give somebody a fair rate of return without the risk. So that you are a professional, you can do this. But if you are one of those people that do not take your business seriously, you're not going to be able to do this. And you might as well just sell one product for one company. Go ahead and sign up with United Healthcare at a phone room, or eHealth, and give up your commissions, give up your vesting, and give up your ownership. So it's true. If you want to be a professional, this has to be everything. And if it's everything, you will make it. You will be successful. So let me get back here to where I was. In summary, whatever it is, you got to put a lot of effort into it. You need to, whatever you're doing, you need to have a lot of leads so you can get some repetition, so you can formulate your own approach. And lastly, subscribe to Medicare Millionaire, like our videos. It helps us reach more agents and help more agents become successful. And that's it. We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.